Please be seated. So welcome to the preaching time for Haiti Sunday. And 2 of the 5 members of the congregation that had some form of travel to Haiti this past winter are going to preach for you, myself and Judy Criscitiello. And the team that spent time at the rehabilitation school has been really provoked by our prayers of the people this Eastertide. A lot of the prayers have brought up memories and images from that time in Haiti. So the team decided that we would structure our reflections around those prayers. So just to give you all a little bit of a background, the 4 of us that went to Haiti in February on school vacation week stayed at the guest house of the rehabilitation school in Haiti, and we participated in a 3 or 4 day long health fair for children with special needs. And the trip was very much focused on occupational and physical therapy, as 2 of the 4 of us have expertise in that. And so that sort of grounds our reflections. So I'm going to invite Judy up, and she will start us off.
Jesus, we bring to you our fragile planet. Inspire and empower us to look after it more carefully, to preserve it more wisely, and to work together to ease its sufferings. The first thing about Haiti that surprised me was what I could see from the plane, the land, what I later heard described as a moonscape. From the airplane looking down, I could see the mountainous topography of Haiti defined in dirt and stone. The rivers, absent of water, like meandering white scars across the earth. I have since read about the deforestation in Haiti. Some statistics say that only 2% of the natural forested areas remain. Some say as much as 30%. Whichever statistic is accurate, I can tell you from the plane on that day, I saw few patches of green. The deforestation appeared significant. We bring to you our fragile planet. The second surprise was in the density of people. For some perspective, Haiti is about 150 square miles larger than the state of Massachusetts. Much of Haiti is mountainous, and most of the population is concentrated in the flatland along the coast. The population of Massachusetts is 6.86 million people. The population of Haiti is 11.1 million people. That's a difference of 4 million people for a country that's only slightly larger than our state. It's overwhelming to see so many people in one place and to realize how many of these people are impoverished. We bring to you our fragile planet. And finally, the trash. It's everywhere. The lack of sewage management is also an issue. There are channels throughout Port-au-Prince to manage water when the storms occur. And when we were there, these were absent of water but not of trash. A thick layer of trash is everywhere. Much of it is plastic, and much of this is water bottles. Some of the trash is burned. As you drive through the city, there are vast areas of acrid smoke. It can't be that the people there produce more trash than we produce here. They are poor. Everything is used and reused. But there's no way to manage refuse. There is no system. And the trash that lines the channels won't stay in Haiti when the rainy season arrives. It will be pushed into the ocean. We bring to you our fragile planet. The deforestation, population density, and trash problems create a terrible triad. Deforestation contributes to the contamination of groundwater, soil erosion, drought, agricultural failure, and flooding. Overpopulation taxes an already strained natural environment, contributing to the spread of disease and the propagation of poverty. Limited access to safe drinking water contributes to an over-reliance on bottled water, and the fledgling recycling programs are not sufficient to stem the flow of plastic waste into the ocean. Traditional efforts at waste management, including open burning and ineffective sewage management, contributes to disease and so on. We bring to you our fragile planet. I would like to be able to offer some positive insight, but I can't. When you are there, it feels overwhelming and hopeless. Is it truly so? Can we make a difference from here? We can make better choices about our own trash production and management. We can also get involved in local, national, and international green initiatives. And for those who are inclined to make a mission trip to Haiti, but for whom a medical trip is not an area of personal or professional familiarity, perhaps a trip to support green initiatives would be. Inspire and empower us to look after our planet more carefully, to preserve it wisely, and to work together to ease its sufferings.
Jesus, we bring to you the church in all its richness and all its need. Broaden our vision of what is possible through new life in you. A few weeks before we left for Haiti, I reached out to Père, the French word for father, Joseph Sonley, the priest of the Episcopal Church just down the street from the rehab school in Léogâne. He had told me the year before to let him know before we came again so that Chris or I could co-celebrate the Eucharist with him on the Sunday morning of the week we would be in Haiti. This terrified me. I was actually incredibly nervous about celebrating the Eucharist in a different country that speaks a different language and has a different church culture. I would have preferred to just avoid the whole thing. A day went by that he didn't write back. Whew. Then 2, whew. Then 3. Each day that he didn't write back, I found myself more and more relieved. Perhaps in managing 7 parishes that span an incredibly large geographic area, he could not find time to respond. And I could happily arrive at the lengthy church service halfway through as a congregant with the belief that I had done all I could do. Day 10, he wrote back. He would love to have me celebrate. I should bring my vestments. Phew, I thought. There is no way I will have space for vestments. Problem solved. I wrote him back that very unfortunately I would not be able to bring my vestments, but looked forward to talking with him after the service. All was well and good until we arrived, Saturday afternoon, and Janet, the dean of the rehab school, got wind of all of this and could spot my evasion a mile away. "Oh no," she said, "this will be wonderful. I'll have the van ready at 7:15 a.m. tomorrow so that you can be there to prepare before the service." And she did. She brought me, in my clerical collar that I packed just in case, butterflies and a "let's just get this over with" mantra running through my mind, to l'Église Épiscopale Sainte-Croix, the Episcopal Church of the Cross. Jesus, we bring to you the church in all its richness and all its need. Boy, was I, as a representative of the church, there in literal richness and spiritual need. I didn't have vestments, but it turned out Père Sonley had extras. It is very uncommon for the people of Léogâne to see a female priest, so I was introduced as Père Rachel to the altar team and outfitted as such. Everything was too big. The alb, the cincture, the rope around my waist, the stole. I was swimming in vestments. Had I felt insecure before, being lost in my vestments served only to further that feeling. Given that the rite to Episcopal service is the same structure, even in French, I anticipated that once the music started and we began our procession, my worry would reduce, but it didn't. I had a knot in my stomach, anticipating reading the gospel in French, and then when that hurdle was cleared, had a new knot as Père Sonley leaned over and invited me to say parts of the Eucharistic prayer. After that hurdle was cleared, and cleared clumsily by inadvertently pronouncing the French word son as the similarly sounding yet very different word daughter, yes, in a context with quite conservative theology, I proclaimed that Jesus is the daughter of God. I developed yet another knot as I stood in front of the first woman in line for the bread and the wine and attempted to hand her the bread. She nodded, but didn't take it. Duh, of course, I thought. It must be that here I put it on everyone's tongue. I nodded back, smiled, and moved it toward her closed mouth. She didn't open it. She just smiled back and nodded again. I nodded back again. Maybe here it's like the whole donut on the string challenge. Maybe people take it right off the plate. I smiled again, put it back on the paten, and raised the paten toward her mouth. She smiled again and nodded again. I smiled again, and rather than nodding again, looked helplessly at the chalice bearer. He smiled and nodded. And then, by God's grace, smiled again, but this time with a laugh, a sort of aha kind of smile. He nodded again, a big nod, a nod of understanding, and then took the bread and dipped it in the wine and gave it to me. The woman laughed, beamed, and opened her mouth and stuck out her tongue. We locked eyes, not in a searching look of trying to figure out what the other was communicating, but in a look of presence. We rested in the vision of each other's profound belovedness and of the humorous moment we had shared. The knot vanished. The French for the body of Christ, the bread of heaven, filled my mouth, and I was able to see her and to really see each that came after her in the sharing of the bread and the wine. Jesus, we bring to you the church in all its richness and all its need. Broaden our vision through new life in you.
I was honored to be present for that moment. Jesus, we bring to you those whom life has damaged, and all who find it difficult to trust in you. Bring them comfort and hope. We bring to you all those who journey towards death or towards illness through this day, and those who companion them. Draw close to them, and nourish us all in your everlasting love and renewal. I hope I can get through this. I'd like to tell you about Jedediah. I know precious little about this boy, but have not yet reached my depth of feeling about him. He's about 2 years old, but he's the size of a child half his age. His mother told me that he was born healthy, but when he was a few days old, he developed a high fever and had a subsequent seizure. This caused damage to his brain that will persist throughout his lifetime. His mother, who looks to be in her early 20s, is beautiful. She also seems exhausted with downcast eyes that look far older and far more burdened than the eyes of a young woman should be. She carries him everywhere, and while he is small for his age, his weight seems more burdensome than it should be because he can't hold on to her or wrap his little legs around her waist. He has clinical signs of one with brain injury, including increased muscle tone and spasticity, which causes an involuntary and forceful contraction of the muscles in his trunk, his arms, and his legs. This gets worse when he's tired or stressed, and at the health fair, surrounded by many other people with noise and heat and fatigue, his body was exhaustingly stiff. I had a chance to work with him, as did Caroline. It felt like far too little and far too short a time to be helpful, but his mother expressed gratitude. It was the best that we could do for him. It was the best we could do for any of the children who we worked with that week. I don't know how they manage. We bring to you all those who journey through death or through illness on this day, and those who companion them. Draw close to them. It seems especially hard to live in Haiti, but to raise a child, especially one with special needs, seems overwhelmingly difficult. I don't know how Jedediah's mother will manage if he is able to grow and thrive into adolescence and adulthood, as his body grows and his needs change. And what will be the quality of his life? Because now he can't play, he can't feed himself or move his body on his own. One of the things that makes me so sad about him is that he didn't have to be this way. With proper nursing care for him and his mother in the weeks following his birth, his symptoms could have been managed and he may not have had that seizure. But he did. And what also makes me sad is that because of where he lives, early intervention of rehab services is not an option. Here, he would have a multidisciplinary team working with him and his mother on a regular basis. I saw him in February, and my understanding was that in several months or so, he would have more treatment. But it would be less than he will get here. It would be less than he would get here, and will be less than he needs. It made me realize just how important it is to support the development of healthcare professionals in Haiti, and how important our work is at the nursing and rehab schools. My hope is that the students that we worked with will be able to someday take care of children like him, and that the quality of his life may be touched in some way because of this. We bring to you those whom life has damaged, and all who find it difficult to trust in you. Bring them comfort and hope.
Jesus, we bring to you our thanks for the gift of resurrection and for all the many ways in which your love animates our lives. The day before we left for Haiti, Janet, the dean of the rehab school, contacted both me and Amanda Hubbard, having found out we were both researchers. The professor that was to teach the research methods class canceled at the last minute, and Janet inquired whether Amanda and I could teach some of the curriculum. Now, as most of you know, although I have a PhD in research methods and had a 15-year career in it, I closed the door on that career in the year 2011. I retired from academia. Back then, my sponsoring priest, Vicky, pushed back on me. What about being bivocational, working as an academic part-time and as a priest part-time? What world was she living in? There was no way I could keep up with my academic career part-time. The academic life required my full focus. Think outside the box, Vicky exhorted me. How might God still use all the passion and effort and resulting knowledge that epidemiology gifted you? I humored her. I'll use my teaching skills to offer adult education, I said, and my budgeting and administrative skills will certainly come in handy. I don't think it will end there, Vicky said. You know a call to new life as a call from God because it will use all of you, all of who you are, all of your past experiences, all of your passions and hopes and curiosities. Nothing will be left behind. I nodded again, humoring her, and over the next year proceeded to whittle my academic career down to a single copy paper box of books, lectures, and memorabilia. I mourned the finality of the termination of a discipline within which I had found so much energy and deep relationship. And then Janet wrote, Jesus, we bring to you our thanks for the gift of resurrection. Janet wrote in the midst of the harriedness of my last-minute preparations. Puzzle pieces for childcare that still needed to be put in place, personal supplies that still needed to be purchased, luggage that still needed to be packed. I might have been annoyed or worried. And yet, for me, as the one who had buried this possibility and pushed the stone over the door, this was resurrection. And somehow, no matter how inconvenient resurrection is, It is a life-giving, animating, hope-filled thing. Jesus, we bring to you our thanks for all the many ways in which your love animates our lives. This old career of mine was given new life in a new context. I fell in love all over again with teaching, problem solving, designing, and wondering. Components that not only go into planning a research study, but also into planning liturgy and parish programming, and to simply living successfully as a church community of many different perspectives and desires. The students allowed themselves to be messengers of love, so gracious as I stumbled back into teaching and into a context of which I was unfamiliar. The sessions were too long, and I screwed things up and went too fast and covered too much and would do it so very differently if I did it again, and still it was resurrection. Still, I came newly alive, not only as a professor of epidemiology, but also as a teacher and learner among all of you. Jesus, we bring to you our thanks for the gift of resurrection and for all the many ways in which your love animates our lives. Amen.